Have you seen what Keith Raboy is doing as his new startup?
No.
So you know who he is?
Yeah.
So he's the guy who he was like ex PayPal, then he was the COO of Square. He's kind of a known investor at Founders Fund. And then he started Opendoor.
He's a known asshole. Like people think that he's a
total asshole on Twitter. Super hilarious to follow because he's a just absolute jerk to people. His like number one tweet is just like wrong, the period. And he won't tell you why. He won't argue back. He just calls you an idiot. And then if you like try to argue, he's like, this is why I was more successful at the age of 27 than you are at 40. And he just like rips people like that. And like, who does that? Nobody does that. So I think that's just like really crazy and entertaining to me. But anyways, he's doing it. So he did Opendoor. And what Opendoor is now is like a publicly listed company because it did a SPAC. And Opendoor is a multi-billion-dollar company. And basically it was like selling your house is a time-consuming and stressful process. What if like the day you want to sell, you could just sell your house right away? Give you a price, you say yes or no. And that's what Opendoor did. So they basically would just buy your house, and then they had a lot of data to know how much to buy your house for. And then they were the brokers. They could keep the broker fee for themselves, buying and selling. And then they would sell it within like 90 days, hopefully. And they do this in a whole bunch of markets like Arizona and stuff like that. And so they've done very well, kind of like on paper. And like Zillow now like does the same thing to try to compete with them. They kind of changed the way that the business model of these big real estate companies worked, where now like the money to be made is in basically like auto buying your house and then reselling it for you and using a bunch of technology to do that. Anyways, his new company he's starting with Jack Abraham is called Opendoor. And so you have Opendoor and now you have Opendoor. They haven't released a bunch of details, but I think I know what it is, which is it is Opendoor for buying businesses. So it's the same idea for buying. I think it's going to be specialized in online businesses, but maybe not. Where basically you just say, here's my business. And then they say, here's your offer. We'll buy it off you. And so I don't know if this is going to be specialized like e-commerce roll-ups, like a Thrasio. I don't know if it's going to be online and offline. Like,
where did you learn about this? And what can I go? Is there a website yet?
They announced it. So I heard about it a few weeks ago, like 6 weeks ago, maybe. And I was like, oh, that's super interesting.
How did you hear about this?
So somebody told me about it because their friend interviewed at the company. And so that's like the only way you could know about it. Cause like when you interview, they like kind of tell you the premise of the company. And that guy was like, oh, dude, Keith Raboy's doing a new thing. It's basically Opendoor for buying businesses. And I was like, oh, that's sick. That's a great idea because selling your business is also just like is even more than buying a home in terms of time consuming, stressful, uncertain on what price you're going to get, uncertain what price it even should be. And the marketplaces to do that online, like buy biz sell or whatever that website is, like .com.
Buy biz sell.
They're so like old school, like on how they do that. And so I think there's like room for improvement there. So I found that to be really interesting.
Let me bring this up real quick, which is it's so crazy how often internet marketers who often are accused of being sleazy, and many of them are. I mean, they're accused of being that because they are, but they're often ahead of the game. So, for example, email marketing, email newsletters are all the rage right now. Scammy guys, like, I don't think this guy's actually scammy, but David D'Angelo, he used to sell dating books in the 1990s by having these long emails. I just stole and copied from him. The other thing is paid memberships. Paid memberships have been a thing for decades. Now, guys like Greg, our friend Greg, is doing a paid community thing, and Greg's like a cool guy. And so it's like cool to do it. And there's so many more. And this is another one. Buying and selling businesses online has been a thing that internet marketers, so for example, Flippa, where you can buy affiliate websites, that's been a thing for years. Empire Flippers is another one.
Empire Builders,
Empire Builders. And if you go, is it Empire Flippers or Empire Builders? I think those are actually two separate things.
Both. Yeah.
But if you go to those websites, a lot of people are going to be immediately turned off. You're going to think, what the fuck is this? And fucking startup guys like us, we just come in. I guess that's what we are. We just come in and we take this stuff that these guys have been doing for years, and we just say,
put some lipstick on it. Yeah.
2.0, make it a flat, beautiful color. It's so funny because cool, this sounds neat, but this isn't unique.
Right. I think, there's no unique ideas really. There's, remixes of ideas, there's old ideas that you make new, there's new platforms, but I think it's cool, and I think it could be big. It's one I'm going to keep my eye on. Then I saw another business like this, so I started to put together a little bit of a pattern here, and I said, oh, what is Opendoor for X? So what other parts of life and the world could use instant liquidity? Because that's what this is. It's basically taking something that was kind of illiquid, like your house, and it takes a lot of time to get liquid, where you actually sell the thing, and it takes a lot of, you got to move out, you got to stage it, you got to repaint it, you got to get a broker, you got to list it, you got to do tours. No, instant liquidity. We buy your house today. Don't do any of that shit. Same thing with buying your business. What else needs that? And then I saw another one. And this business is called, I gotta grab the name, but it's basically doing this for used electronics. It's called Backflip. Just got funded. And Backflip is basically saying, we'll instantly buy any of your used electronics. And because
that's not a new thing either. And I think it's awesome.
And so it's not that it's new. It's basically that there is a big swing being taken by people who are going to try to do this at scale using like the modern kind of internet marketing and models to do it. And so like we buy gold or whatever. What else those billboards?
Or gift cards.
Like gift cards. Yeah, exactly. Like, and there's like a gift card. There's actually a gift card startup that crushes that basically took the old model and just does it new.
What's it called?
Raise, I think.
Raise. Yeah, I'm on their website right now. I'm looking at raise.com. Holy shit. I can look at the traffic and just tell you these guys are printing money. Yeah,
Raise is going to be like a $1 billion plus win. And nobody even like hears about this company. Nobody talks about this company. But, super simple business of like, the gift card business, resale of gift cards, essentially. And so anyways, I'm interested in this Opendoor for X, which is basically instant liquidity for things that were pretty illiquid
That's interesting. Before. All right, let's play off that. So houses, okay, there's EquityZen, which I think is badass. So EquityZen lets you...
EquityZen kind of looks more like Flippa than it does like Opendoor, meaning like it's kind of hard to get in. It's kind of obtuse. You got to like sign up to see shit. Not everything is there. It's like a 10-step process to do an investment. It's like EquityZen is not like... It's not Robinhood on my phone where I could just like do my thing. And so like secondary shares, it's like a shitty name. Like, I don't know, like it's just bad all around. And Forge Global was the other one. It's like also bad. I don't know. I feel like somebody should do this better. Carta X is trying to do this better right now, which is like secondary shares of private companies.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Carta, but I could see them doing well. But I'm not a fan of Carta, so I don't know if I want them to be the best at this.
AngelList is also trying to do it. There's a bunch of people trying to do this. Trying to do Opendoor. What they're trying to do is a little bit different. They're just still trying to do the marketplace. What Opendoor did was different. It wasn't like Opendoor wasn't just another housing marketplace. It was, I will buy the thing off you right now because I know what I can sell it for, and I'm comfortable with this 5% spread that I will keep. So you give up 5% of your upside, but you get the certainty of it being done now. And I'm comfortable in that 5% spread. So somebody would need to do this for secondary shares where they just go, you want to sell your company stock? Done. And then I will figure out how to flip this thing on the other side with my own spread.
So there's a few people that have done this with furniture, and furniture is really hard because furniture doesn't ship well.
Yeah.
But there is, I don't know if you know, I mean, I like buying used furniture because you can get like $10,000 couches for like $3,000. And oftentimes they're really nice. Used furniture is not really a thing on the internet, or at least it's not hugely popular. But I think there is still an interesting way you can do this with used furniture.
Right. So I think trading cards is one. So I know a lot of people that have sports cards. They collected as a kid. It's in their attic somewhere. It's in a box. They kind of heard, cards are worth something, but they don't know what they have. They don't know what it's worth. They don't have them graded. They didn't send them into PSA and pay the money to get them graded. So I think if somebody basically did the shoebox model where you basically say, put it all in a shoebox and mail it to us, and we'll pay you for it. We'll do all the work of figuring out what it's worth, and then we'll pay you, 70 cents on the dollar for what it's worth. And like today, you're getting nothing for it. And like and if you don't like our offer, we'll send it back. And I think that if somebody did that, they could just hoover up all the long tail of like trading cards that are out there that people are not doing anything with that they want to monetize.
That's interesting. Okay, so we've furniture is not that good. Trading cards is pretty interesting because it's a lot easier. Cars, a lot of people do cars. Carvana does cars, and I think that is so sick. They're a multi-billion-dollar publicly traded company.
Is that the same model they use where they'll just instantly buy your car off you?
Yeah, like they'll buy it in a matter of minutes, which if you told me this like years ago, I'd be like, no way, that can't be done. But they made $5.6 billion last year in sales, so it works.
Okay, so it's working. Opendoor for cars is working, yeah.
Yeah, it totally works. What else is interesting? What's a huge thing? Like, what are some of the bigger assets that you possibly have in your life that you want to? Wow, Carvana's market cap is $45 billion. Holy shit! Yeah, it's working.
Yeah.
What else is there?
I don't know. There's going to be some obscure shit like, oh, like life insurance policy payouts or something, or like, like something like that, that I'm like, I don't even know that space, but that makes sense. It takes, it's something that you get, or like Social Security. Like, I know like my parents are getting to the age where they can collect Social Security. Like, would they take a lump sum of all their Social Security now, and at 70 cents or 72 cents on the dollar, and then this company just collects the payments over time? Like, probably. I don't know. Like, there's a lot of people who would make that trade.
Dude, did you know this? So there's this a company. I have to go and look at what it is, but you guys could probably Google it actually. But I think some banks do it, like Goldman will do it. But if you have a winning lottery ticket, they'll buy it off you.
Right.
And they'll give you the money up front, and it's structured in such a way where they're still able to make their profit, but they'll buy lottery tickets from you. Like, we're talking like $10 million lottery tickets or 7-figure. It's kind of interesting. People buy winning lottery tickets off of people. That's actually kind of an interesting one. I would actually need to do some research. How much money do you think is won in the lottery per year?
Oh, dude, I have no idea. I mean, I feel like the weekly lottery, the Powerball, every week is like, between 50 and like $200 million. It's like that's like on a weekly basis that it's now. It doesn't get won every week. That's how it accrues and that's how it gets bigger. But like, I don't know. Do you have the number in front of you? I feel like it's going to be.
I'm looking at it. So, I don't know. No, I can't find it. There's 1,600 lotteries created each year, so there's at least 1,600 unique winners. No, I don't. I don't have the numbers, but lottery tickets might actually be kind of interesting because you said the life insurance. I'm like, what do you wait to get paid for that you would take a discounted upfront payment? Lotteries is actually kind of interesting, and I do know that some banks actually do that.
Right.
You know who else does that? Is Whitey Bulger. You remember Whitey Bulger?
I've never even heard those words in my life.
Do you know the movie The Departed?
Yes.
You know Jack Nicklaus's character?
Okay. Yes.
It's modeled after Whitey Bulger. He was a gangster in Boston. He was an Italian or an Irish mafia guy. Or a mobster guy. He ended up going to jail recently. They found him and they he got beaten to death in jail. So it was like a crazy ending to the story of him. He was America's most wanted man for like 20 years. And anyway, he, as part of his story, he won the lottery 3 times. And the way that he did it is people who had won the lottery in the neighborhood, they would have to go to him and he would buy it from you and he would go and cash the ticket. And so this is like a famous, like the numbers game, they call it. That's like a famous mafia thing.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I feel like I can rule the world. I know I could be what I want to. I put my all in it like no days off. On the road, let's travel, never looking back.